I'm here with Kyle Pulver from Team Meat, and we're talking about a game that you might have heard of, one of the indie classics, but now it's a brand new version. Can you tell me a little bit about the game and what makes it different from its predecessor?
Sure. Super Meat Boy Forever is the follow-up game from Super Meat Boy. We've taken out the ability to stop running. You're always running in this game. There's no stopping, no slowing down. We've removed all the brakes. The levels are also dynamically constructed, and they dynamically rank up in difficulty. So if you beat a level, you can go back and play it again, and it's made harder that time. The Dark World's back, that's still in there. All the Meat Boy goodness from the original Super Meat Boy, but we've taken a lot of things, dialed them up to 11, and changed the gameplay quite a bit. So it's a little bit something new, something old, but mixed together to make something fresh.
Well, everyone likes fresh beef, and since Meat Boy is always running, would you say that he's 95% lean?
Oh yeah, by this point, yeah, there's not an ounce of fat on this boy.
Well, that's good. I have some questions for you, so let's jump right in. If you weren't stuck at this booth all day here at PSX, what game would you want to go and play most?
Here at PSX?
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm just gonna read off a game I can see right now. Detroit. Android City. There it is.
Have you heard of this game, or are you just reading it?
Okay. All right. No, I've seen this game on a video from E3, and I remember there being cutscenes.
A video game with cutscenes.
Yeah.
Well, that's basically it. You basically nailed it. That it's actually just a film, and the only button is like you just press X in order to Detroit, and that's the game mechanic.
Oh, sick! All right. That's giving me a lot of ideas for Meat Boy Forever. I think we need to have a press X to Detroit button. Also, I'm seeing a game called Thrustmaster. That seems pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not safe for work. Let's just move on. So, what comedian do you think is really funny?
Dimitri Martin. I think that one comes to mind pretty early.
What's your favorite thing about Dimitri Martin?
I just like how totally deadpan and dry he delivers stuff, and how you never really know when the actual punchline of the joke is coming. I love the unpredictability of it. The best comedy to me is is a comedy I cannot predict at all. I don't know what part is going to be the funny part.
Well, then you're gonna love the rest of this because it only gets less and less predictable from here on out. Of all the gifts you've ever received, which one is your most cherished?
Wow. Wait, hold on. That's crazy. Because, first of all, I need to think of things that aren't video games. But, I kind of cherish video games.
You can totally say video games.
Well, I'm going to say I was gifted a trip to Alaska when I was younger. My family was able to pay for me to go on this trip. It was my first experience, really seeing, the world that wasn't my super rural farm area that I grew up in. It was the middle of nature. It's oh my god, there are actual mountains that exist that look like the paintings. This is crazy. I got to walk on a glacier and stuff like that. Gifts that are experiences and not material things. So video games obviously influenced my life a lot, but real life took my breath away.
Is this trip to Alaska where you developed your love for the blue color?
Oh yeah, for sure. When I walked on that glacier, it's just blue ice. It looks like a cartoon ocean, but yeah, that's when I was that's it. I'm gonna dye my hair blue. and ever since then, he has never gone back, and it's been the best decision of his life, other than talking with me right now. So you've talked about how games have influenced you. What was your favorite game as a kid? I think I'm gonna have to go with Mega Man X. I don't think I'd ever played a game with a dash like that before until Mega Man X. After I played that game, I just wanted to make a game like that forever. Man, if I made my own Mega Man X game, this is what it'd be like. And then when I learned how to make games a little bit, I would make Mega Man X fan games that I would make one Maverick and then be wow, this is a lot of work, and I had to go to school, so I'm in 4th grade. So yeah, Mega Man X, I think, is probably like my favorite childhood game.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. You're now developing Super Meat Boy Forever. You can see a lot of similar mechanics. Are you kind of living out a dream now? Like, does it feel like you've arrived? You're finally doing what, like, little fourth grade Kyle. I'm not sure if that was pre or post blue hair, but is like, how is this working on a game like this?
It's really amazing. I think all of my games have a touch of every game that has influenced me. So like Mega Man X is kind of visible in some of my other projects as well, but it's really fun to put my influences and stuff like this, but this feels like the biggest scope project I've worked on in at least a long time. I often think back to, like fourth grade Kyle, and I'm like trying to make him proud, every day, to be like, I'm really doing it. I'm really making video games. Like, like we did it.
Here's a good one. Okay. Tell me about the most nervous time of your life.
I think like the one that bubbles up immediately is when I opted to give just a 5-minute talk at Game Developers Conference. That was like the most nervous I ever was for like a long period of time. I have to submit what I'm talking about. I have to figure out what I'm talking about. I have to figure out if I'm qualified to even speak about what I'm talking about. It's just like the whole time I just feel like, what am I doing here? Because like there are people here that are like way cooler than me, and they're talking about real things, and I'm just blabbering about game jams or something. And like instead of going to hang out with people, I go back to my hotel room and like practice the talk. And then like I'm just like, this is only 5 minutes. Like imagine if I had to do one if I was like 25 minutes long or an hour. A weird other story is that I knew that there might be demand for me to do the Independence Day speech at the end of the talk, so I had to make sure I knew that. The great thing was like on stage, like it was so bright that I actually couldn't see anybody in the crowd. So I was just kind of like, well, I guess there are people here maybe, but whatever.
No, I'm not gonna let you just glaze on by.
Okay.
Why were you expected to say the Independence Day speech? It seems pretty random.
Okay, so actually this is kind of how I met Tommy, who is the programmer on Super Meat Boy Forever. I met him at GDC 2008, I want to say, and we both instantly bonded over our love of the amazing film / documentary Independence Day, in which President Bill Pullman saves the entire world, not only the United States, from an alien invasion on July 4th.
I actually remember that. I was there, and never forget.
Never forget. Those were, that's when this nation truly was great, was when we were saving it from aliens. And then so me and Tommy both discovered that we both have memorized many lines from the movie, and then he was giving a talk the following year, and I was like, oh man, you should totally do the speech. He was like, I'll do it if you ask about it at the end. So the QA panel came up, and I went up, and I was like, Tommy, I think it's time to do the speech. Somehow I ended up on stage as well, and then we did the Independence Day speech, and then everyone like did a standing ovation at the end of it, because it's kind of like relevant for like independent developers as well. That's how I'm justifying it. But then in 2011, I was giving a talk, and then some people were there that were there in 2009, and someone was like, do the speech, and then somebody called Tommy on like a cell phone. I was like, Tommy, where are you? And he was like right outside the room, and he was at the entrance of the room, and we were like, oh my God, this is incredible. And then so he came up on stage, and we did the speech together, and like everyone went crazy, and yeah, it was amazing.
This is the most beautiful bromance I've possibly ever heard in my entire life. I'm really glad that our viewers of Celebrity Miitomo are the first ones to hear such a gripping and touching tale. Where can people get their hands on Super Meat Boy Forever, and where can they go to learn more about it?
Super Meat Boy Forever will be available on a lot of stuff, including PlayStation 4, around summer of 2018. SuperMeatBoy.com is where you want to find out more about it. We have a mailing list you can sign up for.
Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun, and thank you for playing Celebrity Miitomo.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.